How do you determine which hair oil is best for your hair type? I know it can be so confusing when they all seem so similar, and Curlsmith has lots of different options when it comes to oils and serums. Well, I'm going to break it down for you and talk you through all of the differences between these. That way you can determine which one is best for your hair type. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Gina, and here we make videos all about naturally curly hair. I love doing simplified step-by-step tutorials talking about the science of hair and product ingredients. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. I also wanted to thank Curlsmith for partnering with me for today's video. They are releasing a new shine oil and a satin pillowcase. So I'm going to be talking about these, specifically this shine oil and how it compares to the other oils so you can determine which one is right for you. Curlsmith is just one of my favorite brands, as you guys know. They're one of those brands that I always go back to if I'm testing other products. I always just end up going back to Curlsmith products whenever I don't have something new that I need to be trying. They're a brand that I'm always recommending to friends and family. It's just all around a really great brand, and I love that they are expanding their product line and they're expanding their new fragrance-free collection, which is why they have the new shine oil, which is a fragrance-free oil. So let's go ahead and get started with the comparison. So first off, it's helpful to know these two characteristics when it comes to determining the right products for your hair. The first being your porosity and your hair's texture. Your hair's texture refers to the width of the individual strands of hair. This can be fine, medium, or coarse, and you can have a mixture of multiple textures. My hair is a combination of medium texture and coarse textured. Coarse textured hair feels very wiry and brittle, and I have some sections in this area and around my crown that are very coarse. Fine hair is very hard to see and feel. You almost can't even feel it between your fingers. You might struggle with your hair getting very weighed down. You might struggle with volume. And then medium textured hair just falls in between. When it comes to porosity, your porosity is definitely a range, but just to simplify it, there is a low, medium, and high porosity, and it's basically the scale of damage on your hair. So if your hair is low porosity, you have a very tightly bound cuticle, and this also can struggle to let moisture in and can struggle with buildup because it doesn't absorb things like water and products as easily. Medium porosity hair has a functioning cuticle. It can let product and water in and out easily. And then high porosity hair is very porous hair. So this is your damaged hair. This is hair that has been bleached, has been colored, has heat damage to it. And this is where the cuticle layer is compromised. So it has some chipping in the cuticle, and this results in moisture escaping very easily. So high porosity hair needs a lot of sealing ingredients to help lock moisture in. So just some things to keep in mind before we talk about the different oils. So let's first start off with the new shine oil, which is part of Curlsmith's new fragrance-free collection. So there's no fragrance in this product, so if you don't like scents in your products or if it bothers you, this is a really good option. So this is a very lightweight oil, and it's very fast absorbing. I would say that's the main difference between this oil and the other ones, aside from it not having fragrance, is it's very fast absorbing and lightweight. It's a highly penetrating oil. It also can seal in moisture, but from what I researched, it seems like a lot of the oils that are in this, or a lot of the ingredients in this, do penetrate into the hair shaft. Curlsmith says that this can also lock in moisture at the same time, and of course it can add a lot of shine. I do notice this one adds the most shine. It's part of the shine collection, so that totally makes sense. So the ingredients are 100% naturally derived, just like all of Curlsmith ingredients. This contains plant silk, which Curlsmith says is a next generation blend of plant-derived esters specifically designed to outperform silicones while being lighter weight than raw oils. So if you'll know, silicones can build up on some people's hair, especially if you have very fine hair or low porosity hair. So finding an alternative to silicone when it comes to oils is pretty tough. So that's cool that they have this plant silk ingredient that's in this shine oil. It also has watermelon seed oil, which is a very lightweight oil, sea buckthorn oil, which is a sealing oil. It also has marumru butter and babassu oil for maximum shine. So this can be used as a finishing oil to scrunch out your gel cast, seal in moisture, and add shine at the end of your styling routine. And it's also a really great oil to pre-poo with to help soften that gel cast, to further detangle, so it can really help to soften the hair, especially if you have coarse hair. I like using this as a pre-poo oil. I'll show you how I do that. I usually just section off my hair and I apply it in sections. I love how large the bottle is too, because I tend to use quite a bit of oil when I pre-poo, but you really don't need a lot with this. It does soak into the hair, which makes it great for a pre-poo oil, especially if you want to do a quick pre-poo treatment before you jump in the shower. A lot of times I don't have time to let it sit, or I forget to do it the night before. So this has been a really great option as a pre-poo oil because it soaks in right away and then I can go right to shampooing. So the hair textures and porosities that this would be best for really include all hair textures and porosities, but I think this would be especially great for fine textured hair because it is so fast absorbing and it doesn't weigh down the hair. This is the most lightweight option in my opinion, and I also think it would be good for low porosity hair because low porosity hair struggles to really get anything to absorb. So if this is very penetrating, I think that it would be ideal for low porosity hair. However, I really think that any hair texture and any porosity can use this oil, and along with most of these as well. So next oil we're going to talk about is the Curlsmith bonding oil. This is definitely a fan favorite. It's part of their strength recipe, which is their line of products that has strengthening ingredients, so ideal for damaged hair. This one is also very lightweight and pretty fast absorbing as well. It contains oils that are both penetrating and sealing. And if you're not sure what I'm referring to when I talk about that, basically some oils, depending on their composition, can soak into the hair better than others. And some are meant to really just sit on the hair and help seal in the hair. So some sit on the outside, some soak into the hair. So when I talk about penetrating versus sealing, that's what I mean. And this contains both penetrating and sealing oils, as well as the previous shine oil that I talked about. However, that one I think penetrates a little bit more, it seems, but this one also does as well. So because of that, they can both be multi-purpose oils, so you can use them either in the beginning of your routine or at the end of your routine to lock in moisture. It's also great at adding shine, and the ingredients include that same plant silk ingredient, which is supposed to be a better alternative to silicone. It also contains vegan keratin, which is that strengthening ingredient that's going to help repair broken and damaged hair and help repair your hair's cuticle. It has castor oil, which is a good sealing oil, sea buckthorn oil, and apricot kernel oil. All of those oils are formulated to be very lightweight, so as you can see, the formula is not too heavy. It definitely is more of like a runny oil. So as I mentioned, this is a great multi-purpose oil, so you can use this at the end of your routine to help scrunch out the gel cast, which is what I use it the most for, and that helps to just soften the hair, helps you get that gel cast out, especially if you used too much gel or you had too strong of hold and you really want to soften it. This can really help to soften the hair and give you a softer look. And you can also use this as a pre-poo oil to help you dry detangle. I've used this recently quite a few times as a pre-poo oil, and it's done a great job at that, and I don't find that it makes my hair too heavy. Some pre-poo oils are just really hard to shampoo out, so I like something that is more fast absorbing, like the bonding oil and the new shine oil. And this one is also best used on dry hair. So the hair types that are best for this bonding oil are really all textures and all porosities. I think all textures would be able to use this, whether it's fine, medium, or coarse textured hair. Because this is so lightweight, I don't think it's going to weigh down your hair if you do have very fine hair. And if you have coarse textured hair, it's great at softening those coarse areas as well. That's really where I use it the most, is on my coarse areas. But it's going to be most beneficial for those that have high porosity hair, which is those that have damage on their hair, because of the bonding repair technology that it has and those ingredients that help strengthen the hair. So that's going to help strengthen weakened hair for high porosity hair that might have damage from heat, from color, chemical treatments, bleaching, all of that. This is going to be a really great option to help strengthen your hair and also add shine and seal in moisture. So the last oil that I'm going to be talking about is Curlsmith's Intense Treatment Serum. So this is the most unique out of the three. This is not technically an oil, I guess. It's more of like a solid butter, but it does warm up to an oil, and it has the same uses as the other oils, except for it is a little bit different. So this is a thick, solid formula that melts when it comes into contact with your hands. So this makes it great for traveling. It's not going to leak or spill anywhere because it does have that solid texture to it. This is completely solid. So it's not like a deep conditioner or anything like that. It's a solid butter that as you run your fingers over it, it warms up, and then you just rub it between your hands to get the product all over your hands to then apply it to your hair. So this is a sealing oil. It really helps to lock in moisture, and it can also protect from chlorine and sea salt as well. So to me, this sounds like a really great option for traveling in the summertime. The ingredients include shea butter, which I'm not surprised it is a butter product, and shea butter is a solid form butter. It also has resurrection flour, which is said to really help retain moisture. So that's interesting that it has these other ingredients like extracts and stuff and butters other than just oil. It also contains oat kernel oil, which helps reduce water loss. And it also has jojoba oil, which is like the most sealing oil out of all oils. This also has avocado oil, olive oil, apricot kernel oil, macadamia, and sunflower oil. So this is really packed with a ton of different oils, butters, and also some interesting ingredients like that resurrection flour that help retain moisture. So the uses for this include an overnight pre-poo treatment. So you could definitely use this as a pre-poo treatment, but I would definitely recommend applying it the night before you wash your hair because it is so thick. I find it hard to shampoo if you shampoo right after applying it, so you'll definitely want to use it at night and let it soak into your hair. So this can also be used at the end of your routine to soften your gel cast and help seal in any frizzy ends. That's what I'm showing you here because sometimes I get these ends that are just looking a little bit frizzy after I finish diffusing. I might have diffused for too long, or maybe I didn't have enough hold. So what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of the butter and just warm it up between my fingers, and then I will kind of finger coil those frizzy pieces, and just sort of twirling them around my hand that has the butter on it helps to evenly coat it, because sometimes I find it hard to just kind of like scrunch my hair with this because your hair will kind of stick to it a little bit. So I find that using it in a more precise way at the end of your routine can really help to lock in moisture, especially if you get those frizzy ends a lot like I do after diffusing. And it can also be used, of course, to soften any coarse areas, just help your hair feel more smooth. So now for the hair types that I think this is best for, and this one is a little bit different in that I think that it's gonna be best for coarse textured hair or maybe even medium textured hair, but I do think this could be too heavy for fine hair. I think fine hair people could use this as that pre-poo overnight treatment, but you would only need a little bit, and you would definitely want to let it soak in and then shampoo it out the next morning, so you could use it for that, but I don't think you would want to use this as a finisher because it could weigh your hair down. But for coarse textured hair, it's really great at softening the hair, and it doesn't feel too greasy once it absorbs. So when it comes to porosity, I definitely think high porosity hair will benefit most from this because of all of the properties that it has that help seal in moisture. It is a very sealing product, so this would be great for high porosity hair that has that raised cuticle to help seal everything in. I have medium porosity hair, but at the ends it's a little bit higher porosity hair, and that's where I find it works best, is using it on my ends at the end of my routine or as a pre-poo treatment overnight. So just to summarize it, between all three, the differences, you definitely don't need all three of these. I don't think everyone has to have all three. I think the bonding oil and the new fragrance-free shine oil are the most similar. I mean, they might even be like the same formula, and maybe this one just doesn't have fragrance, I'm not sure, but these are the most similar. I mean, they even look the same. The formula seems the same. So these two are very similar. This one is the most different, obviously, in the formula. Now, these are all multi-purpose oils. All of these you can use as a pre-poo or as a finisher at the end of your routine. So these two are the most similar and work for all hair types, but I think if you were trying to decide between the two, I would go with the shine oil if you are looking for a fragrance-free option, because that's the main difference and it's highly absorbent. If you have damaged hair or high porosity hair, I would definitely go with the bonding oil if you're trying to repair that damage, or if you really struggle with breakage. I mean, both of these would work for that, but this one especially, because of those bonding properties, are going to help prevent breakage and strengthen your hair. And then, as I mentioned, this one is the most unique one when it comes to the formula, and this one is ideal for those coarse hair textures or very thick hair textures, and also high porosity hair to help seal and lock in moisture. So as with all of the comparison videos that I like to do, I always put together a chart on my blog that just helps summarize everything. So if you're shopping, you can look at that and see the differences side by side. So I will link you to that blog post down below. And also check out the Instagram reels that I'm going to be posting to my feed if you want to see 3 ways to reduce breakage. I'm going to be featuring the new satin pillowcase from Curlsmith and also the new fragrance-free Free Shine Oil. So I'll have that Reels link down below once it's up. So let me know in the comments down below, which products do you want me to compare next from Curlsmith? I've already done a comparison on their gels. So I compare all of the gels side by side and you actually get to see them all in my hair. And also the creams, I've done a comparison on all of those and you get to see the differences in my hair as well. Maybe I'll do the deep conditioners next. Let me know if you guys want to see that one and I will compare all their different deep conditioners because I know they all seem similar. So hopefully that will help if you're undecided on which products to try out from Curlsmith. So if you enjoyed this video and want to hear more reviews and more of my product recommendations, I recommend checking out the series that I did all about my top 10 products from each category. I will have that playlist linked here on the screen and I will talk to you over there. Bye everyone.